Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Finn's world completely shattered. Steffy's secret pregnancy and the father will shock you. The day had started like any other at Forrester Creations, with the sun pouring through the glass walls of the design studio, casting a golden glow over the busy staff. But Finn could feel something in the air that was off. A tension he couldn't place, as if the universe had conspired to throw him into chaos. Steffy had been distant 4 days, texting him back with clipped answers, avoiding his gaze when they crossed paths in the hall. And for the first time in years, Finn sensed that there was a secret she was hiding from him, something monumental. He had tried to brush it off, convincing himself that perhaps it was stress about the new line launch or Ridge breathing down her neck about design approvals, but deep in his gut, Finn knew better. That ominous intuition became unbearable when Steffy finally asked to meet him in the private conference room, a place where they had once shared dreams, tears, and declarations of love. But today, it felt cold, almost menacing in its stillness. As she entered, her usual confident stride seemed weighted, her eyes avoiding his entirely, her lips pressed into a thin line that betrayed the storm raging inside her. Finn, desperate to hold on to the calm before the storm, tried to approach her with warmth, placing a tentative hand on hers, but she recoiled slightly, shaking her head as if the simple gesture reminded her of the impossibility of what she was about to reveal. Finn, "If there's something I need to tell you," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. But Finn's heart thudded in his chest, each beat louder than the last. He reached for her hand again, grasping it tightly, his thumb brushing against her knuckles. "Steffy, whatever it is, we'll handle it together. You know that, right?" But Steffy pulled back and took a deep breath, her eyes glistening with unshed tears, a vulnerability that Finn had rarely seen in her. Then she spoke the words that would irrevocably shatter his world. "Finn, I'm pregnant." Time seemed to stop for Finn. His mouth went dry and the world around him blurred, as if the studio had dissolved into a haze of fear, disbelief, and a faint, sharp electric shock that ran straight to his heart. "Pregnant," he repeated, his voice trembling, unable to comprehend what he had just heard. The room felt impossibly small, the walls closing in as he tried to process the implications. Finn had envisioned a future with Steffy. He had dreamed of children with her, yes, but the circumstances, the secrecy, the hidden nature of this revelation. It was a betrayal he had never imagined. Not from the woman he loved, not from the woman he thought he knew completely. "Yes, but it's complicated," Steffy said, her voice breaking, tears finally spilling down her cheeks as she looked up at Finn. Her eyes pleading for understanding, for patience, for something he didn't know if he could give. Finn's mind raced through every possibility, every scenario. But nothing prepared him for what she would say next. "Finn, the father," she faltered, her lips quivering as she took a shaky breath. Finn's heart pounded in his chest, his entire being trembling with fear and anticipation. "The father is Liam." The world tilted as though the ground had been ripped from under Finn's feet. Liam, his rival, the man who had haunted the edges of their lives for years, the man who had tried to take Steffy away countless times, the man Finn had thought was finally out of the picture. The father. Finn felt as though a physical blow had struck his chest. The air seemed to leave his lungs in a violent rush, and the room spun around him. He grasped at the edge of the conference table, knuckles white, as his vision blurred with disbelief and betrayal. He had fought so hard for Steffy. He had believed in her. He had trusted her with every part of his soul, and now everything he had built in his heart, every moment of love, every hope for the future felt like sand slipping through his fingers. Steffy, seeing the anguish etched into Finn's face, reached out as if to steady him, to offer some semblance of comfort. But Finn recoiled, stepping back as though the very air around her had become toxic. "Steffy, why?" His words were fragmented, jagged pieces of the storm raging inside him. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she whispered, tears streaming freely now. "It was a mistake, Finn. I tried to tell you before, but I didn't know how that I was scared." Finn's mind screamed either at Liam at the world. Every betrayal, every secret, every lie that had ever brushed against his life with Steffi now surged into a tidal wave of pain. He had believed they were invincible together, that no secret could come between them. And yet, here they were, standing on the precipice of a reality he couldn't even begin to face. And as Steffi continued to plead, explaining how it had happened during a moment of weakness, during a time when Liam had manipulated her emotions, Finn felt the world collapse around him. Had thought of the life they had planned together, the family he had imagined, the love he had poured into every moment with her. And now that entire vision lay in ruins, shattered by the revelation of a life that was growing inside Steffi, a life tied to his most bitter rival. That Finn's hands trembled as he ran them through his hair. His mind spinning out of control. The once orderly world of Forrester Creations, the life he had painstakingly built with Steffi, now felt like a dream slipping away, leaving only jagged fragments of anger, sorrow, and disbelief. He wanted to scream Toadman answers to confront Liam in a fury of rage. But even as these instincts surged, a deep aching sorrow took root in his chest. This child, this innocent life was not the enemy. Yet it symbolized everything that had been stolen from him, everything that had been rewritten in his life without his consent. And as he looked at Steffi, standing vulnerable, remorseful, yet undeniably glowing with the life she carried, Finn felt the most excruciating conflict he had ever known, the Deserito rage, to punish, to retreat from this betrayal, and the undeniable, unyielding love he still held for the woman who had just broken his heart into irreparable pieces. The next few days were a blur. Finn tried to function, tried to go about his work, tried to hold himself together. But every glance at Steffi, every mention of Liam, every whisper of a baby sent a shockwave through his system. He could see the world moving around him, people laughing, talking, designing. But to Finn, it was all hollow, empty noise compared to the devastation in his heart. He found himself questioning every moment, every smile, every touch he had shared with Steffi, replaying memories that now seemed tainted, corrupted by the knowledge of her secret. And yet, in the quiet moments when he was alone, Finn's mind couldn't escape the love that still lingered, that stubborn, indestructible piece of his soul that refused to let go of her entirely.